TWF Dynamite or Might. I, Michael Cole, with Tony Schiavone and with Taz. And today on Dynamite or Might, we had a good show yesterday on NXT. We saw Autolycus beat Baron Corbin and keep the TWF hard middle winnings for another day, Michael Cole says. Autolycus is the king of thieves, but the hard middle winnings is one thing he did not steal. Well, that's right, Michael. Autolycus, the king of thieves, beat Baron Corbin yesterday on NXT, and he is still the TWF hard middle fighter. And even though he did steal, he's a king of thieves, it was one thing he did not steal, and that was the TWF hard middle winnings, Tony Schiavone says. I can tell you right now, Michael and Tony, Autolycus, the king of thieves, might make thievery cool, but thievery is not cool. Thievery is sinful and unlawful, and one who steals is both a sinner and an outlaw by doing so. But sooner or later he will lose the TWF hard middle winnings, Taz says. Kinda like you, Taz, Tony Schiavone said. You were what, 3-time WWF, WWE hard middle fighter? Won it about 3 times, won it 2 times at WrestleMania 6 between, and then won it again on SmackDown and lost it? Yeah, but then again, Taz said I was a former WWE tag team fighter with Spike Dudley, a former 2-time ECW heavyweight fighter, a former 2-time ECW Farseer fighter, and a 2-time ECW tag team fighter with Kevin Sullivan. You know, with Cactus Jack. So yeah, I did, and a former ICCW light heavyweight fighter as well. So don't knock me for what I did in ICCW and ECW and WWF and WWE and TNA and AEW, which was not much. You know. Well, Michael Cole says, Taz, we do know that you've done a lot, and you did a lot, and ICCW, ECW, WFW, TNA, IWAW. You worked with many greats. You worked with Kevin Kelly, Josh Matthews, Jim Ross, Michael Cole, Joey Styles, Todd Grisham, Mike Adamle, Mike Today, Todd Kenny, Jeremy Boraz, Josh Matthews, Jonathan Coachman, Xavier, Tony Schiavone. I know you worked with a lot of folks, and I'm on a list of all those folks that you worked with. But we're not here to talk about all that. We're here to talk about the match we're going to have here today on Dynamite or Mike. Well, we got to bring the ring closer to the ring, Tony Schiavone says, so we can see who's going to be wrestling here today. Well, it seems Michael Cole says we got Medusa, and we haven't seen Medusa in a long time since she came to the Toy Wrestling Gathering at the end of 2006 between FYL from Game Again, Michael Cole says. But she's still been a creep ever since then and has never really shifted her behavior since then. Well, we do know that Medusa is a former 2-time TWF Pennsylvania Reich fighter. We do know that, Tony Schiavone says. And Taz says, I always told you how I like Medusa. I always like it's cool how she can shift folks and beings into stone. So, Medusa says, everyone wants to know where I've been lately. Well, I haven't been on the show lately because TWF ownership and leadership didn't like how I could shift folks into stone. So they said, Medusa, the only way you're going to be wrestling or fighting is if you wear these glass things over your eyes, so you can't shift everyone into stone. And it wouldn't be fun. Let's be earnest about that. I get all my kicks out of wrestling and fighting folks. And everyone wants to know why I'm also in a pissed off mood. Because right before I came out here, I was talking with someone about, does everyone know a show called Monster Vision? or Fiend site, which was on TNT between 91 while to 20 OYL. Well, I'm sure I know a lot of you folks probably know that, you know. And then I had Tai Chi come up to me and say, "You think Monster Vision, you think Fiend Sight was cool on TNT? Well, why don't you seek USA Friday Night Nightmares? Because that was a cool show too." Yeah. But I'm here to tell you that you were wrong, Tai Chi. You were wrong about USA's Friday Night Nightmares being a more greater show than Monster Vision or Fiend Sight. I mean, hell, you had cool greeters like the Man in the Moon, Penn and Teller, Jelly Boy Rose before he left. And hell, I could have done it. I could have done it, you know. So you get out of here now. Medusa, are you really pissed off because I said that that Friday Night Nightmares on USA was more good than Monster Vision or Fiend Sight on TNT back in the day? Get over yourself. You know, it's a thought, it's a belief. Yeah, well, let's just say, Tai Chi, that your thought, your belief is wrong. And you're one of those folks that went around telling everyone, "Oh, Medusa should not be a wrestler. She should not be a fighter. She should not be an overstar. Hey, she's a fiend. She shifts folks into stone. Someone should cut her head off." I never said that. Now you're putting words in my mouth. Now you're besmirching me, because I never said any of that. But I did say that you did shift folks into stone, and something should be done about it. You think I'm be frightened of you, Tai Chi, because you're some Disney Marvel self? Get over yourself, Tai Chi. I'm not frightened of you because you think you're some Disney Marvel self and everyone should onlook you. I'm not frightened of you at all. Alright. Look, Daniel Bryan says, as much as I would like to stand out here, or I can't stand without leaning against the rope unless I bring one of those DC doll stands out. As much as I like to stand out here and have a big bind over what was greater, Monster Vision or Fiend Sight on TNT or Friday Night Nightmares on USA back in the day, you know, I'm here to tell you that you both are going to have a match here today on Dynamite or Might, and hopefully you can settle your unlikenesses between each other. And Medusa, the TWF Leadership Gathering has made it known that you need to wear those things on your eyes at all times when you are wrestling or when you are fighting, because you're not going to be shifting any of our wrestlers, fighters, or overstars into stone, or whatever you want to call them. Well, we can tell Michael Cole says that Medusa and Tai Chi have an unlikeness of belief over what was the greatest show back in the day. You know. Well, I can tell you one thing. Michael Cole says, Medusa right now. Well, Medusa wanted to fly in the air, but Tai Chi just ended up knocking down Medusa with that spin kick of his. And now Medusa is in a thigh of a body slam. Well, you worked for Turner Broadcasting and Time Warner back in the day, Tony Schiavone and the WCW arm. Tell me, did anyone really make a big deal about Monster Vision or Fiend Sight? No, they really didn't make a big deal out of it. And most of the time, the shows that were on there weren't really Some of them are good, some of them are not so good. But why Medusa and Tai Chi would have a fight over it, Michael, is beyond me. Taz says, are you kidding yourself? Friday Night Nightmares on USA didn't, was more cooler. Oh, yeah, it didn't last as long. But Tai Chi's got to be crazy. Because why would anyone think that Friday Night Nightmares on USA back in the day was more cool? When Monster Vision or Fiendsight on TNT was more cool, Taz says. Well, Medusa right now, just did a spin kick, and down goes Tai Chi. Well, Michael Cole said everyone has the right to their own thought and belief, even if there's no truth to make that thought or belief true. And Medusa right now, is just working any forgiveness she can to be on the show. Well, Tony Schiavone says Medusa have those things in her eyes so she can't shift anyone in a stone, because that would be bad if she did. I don't know about that. Taz says seeing Tai Chi as stone might really be cool. He's already stoned as it is anyway. Oh, and Tai Chi just took down Medusa. Tai Chi just did a might slam on Medusa. It looks like this match is over. This match is over, Michael Cole says. And that was a mean thing to say, Michael Cole says. Yeah, it was. Saying you would like to see Tai Chi shift in a stone. That was a mean thing to say, Tony Schiavone says. 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. Here is your winner. Here is your winner, Tai Chi. Well, Tai Chi, beat Medusa here today on Dynamite and Mike. It has been some time since we have seen Medusa, here in the toy wrestling gathering, But Medusa is still the creep. Hopefully this doesn't become a full-time thing, a war between these two, between Tai Chi and Medusa. Michael Cole says, well, I hope it doesn't become a full-time thing either, Tony Schiavone says. Because after what we saw, what they did to each other, hopefully it has been settled. Hopefully it'd be the end of that war. I wouldn't reckon on it at all, Taz says. I think at the end of the day, it's only started. If knowing Medusa, Tai Chi started something, and Medusa is going to end. Alright, take it away, Jonathan Coachman. Thank you, Michael Cole and Tony Schiavone. I'm going to be talking with Tai Chi here today on Dynamite or Mike. You can't stand up. Come on. Fuck, you need something to lean against, I guess. There. Alright, Tai Chi, I can see you have a bind standing up, and I got a bind holding my arm up. But anyway, shit. Tai Chi, we saw you in the ring. We saw you having a match with Well, we saw you in the ring with Medusa, and we wonder, do you think things between you and Medusa are done? Well, I don't know about that, Jonathan Coachman. I don't know if things are done. All I know is that Medusa could not handle me saying that Friday Night Nightmares on USA back in the day was more good than Monster Vision or Fiend Sight on TNT. And that's sad when you have a war when you get into a wrong or a war over something as dumb as that. But anyway, I'm done with that. That's a one-off, and I don't think we have to worry. I don't have to worry about Medusa anymore. Well, hopefully you can start thinking about more good things, and not worry about your war of Medusa, which we all hope is over too. Well, I hope it is. The way I look at whoa! Medusa just knocked Tai Chi right off the board. Michael Cole says, we just saw that, and we wonder if Tai Chi is alright. And now Medusa's like, yeah, how do you like to eat dirt, Tai Chi? Hope you like to eat that rug. And this isn't over between me and you. You hear it? We're not over between us. Well, it looks like it is all the time well, that's kind of a sad way, a sad way to end. Well, it's like all the time we got here for Dynamite or Mine. I, Michael Cole, with Tony Schiavone and with Taz, we hope you like Dynamite or Mite, and we'll see you tomorrow for Impact or Hit.